I'm Jim Steele. In this excerpt from Just Across the Way, we follow our psychopathic, serial-killing main character David on what had been the ending to a peaceful afternoon walk. He stops into a local bar for a drink and immediately notices some college kids and begins buying them drinks for his own entertainment. This is called I Need a Drink. By the time I reached the Embarcadero, the sun had set, and the streetlights were taking over in the task of lighting the city. Through the fleeting light of early evening, I found a bar and walked inside. I sat down at the end of the bar like I always do, laid $100 down, and ordered 4 fingers of vodka. The bartender brought back $85, mostly in 5s and 1s as change. I didn't even bother looking at the name on the door, but it was nice enough and cheap. Even if you had some money on you, it was always nice to know places that weren't too pricey. I looked around the place, and it was nice. I hadn't ever been in here before, and I guess that a part of me wondered why. If the outside was not a script, the interior was rich and full. Dark wood paneling covered the walls, and red upholstered booths lined both walls of the narrow space. Candles on the tables, and then the backlight of the bar's mirrors provided the only light. It was downright comfortable, and the thought came to me that this was the kind of place that a fella could probably spend the whole night and not feel out of place. Even more, there was basically nobody in here. No annoying assholes or anybody mouthing off. The only noise came from an old black and white TV that had the news playing on low volume. Just then, 2 couples stumbled in, and it was obvious they were on one of those double dates I had heard so much about. My guess was, judging by the way the girls stuck so close together as they came through the door, was that it wasn't going so well. Okay, so at least this might be entertaining. I ordered another drink and sat back. They all sat down, and the guys ordered some shit kind of craft beer, not even paying attention to their fucking dates. It was no wonder that the girls seemed annoyed with the whole situation. After only a few minutes, I figured out that they were students, and probably had gotten themselves into this mess by being in the same class together, or it could be that a couple worked together, and then roped in their friends so that they could make their own misery that much more bearable. These motherfuckers immediately settled into a very loud discussion having to do with how they weren't paid enough for their stupid jobs. But as far as I could tell, only one guy and his date had jobs. She was this tasty-looking little brunette with nice tits, and even though she was slurring her words a bit, I could have stood to have listened to her for a while, maybe just a little while. She ordered frozen strawberry daiquiris for her and her friend, and that's just about where my affinity for any of them stopped. If there's one thing I couldn't stand, it was some bitch sipping on her goddamn daiquiri, spinning around the fucking umbrella, and all talking high and mighty, like she was really something. I'll tell you this much, if they served those fucking sugar drinks in paper cups without the umbrellas, they wouldn't be nearly as popular as they are. One of the main reasons that I hate daiquiris is that they are one of the few drinks that can be ordered far too often as virgin. I mean, for Christ's sakes, you see little kids sipping on these, and deep down you just really want to feel the need to go over and punch the kid's parent right in the mouth. All they're doing is created a future asshole like the ones who had just begun interrupting my evening. Even if some kid was drinking the real thing, chances are, with so much fucking mixer in the way, nobody's going to ever taste the vodka or rum. Instead, they just act like it, pretending like they're Mr. or Mrs. Big Shot downing drinks at the bar after work. "Listen up," said Miss Brown Hair. "I'm 22 years old and I work just as hard as any man, and yet I get only like maybe 2/3 of the pay as he does, and I'm sorry, but that's just plain old-fashioned sexist behavior, and I'm fucking sick of it." "Truth," echoed her friend, hoisting her glass and then slamming it down on the bar. Just then, one of their dates must have grown a pair and decided to enter the conversation, saying that, "You think you have it bad? And mind you, what with the pay inequality and all, I'm not saying that you don't, but let's talk strictly working hours and the kind of shit that's expected of us, especially our generation." "Go on, big man," said the cute brunette. "Tell it like it is." "Okay, as a for instance," he cleared his throat and then kind of set his shoulders back, knowing these chicks would give him only one shot to enter their world of unfair treatment. For instance, I just happened to have a 9 a.m. class on Mondays and Thursdays, and still, even still, my boss expects me to come in and work a second shift starting at 3, after getting up early for school. I mean, it's fucking bullshit, right? Fuck yeah, that's bull. Fuck yeah, they all echoed. If it was me, said the other girl, I'd give that motherfucker a choice, me on my terms or him working his own stupid ass at 3 p.m. They all loved that and started high-fiving each other and cheering. Brown hair nudged her date and said, "Hey Charlie, why don't you order up some whiskey? Or better yet, let's all have martinis." Charlie got out his wallet, glanced into it, and then nodded. He motioned for the bartender to come over and ordered 4 martinis, shaken. Just then, I tapped on the bar and ordered another glass of vodka. Then I said, "Put those martinis on my tab, please, and make them from top shelf vodka. Let them see the difference," pointing downward towards my money with my knuckles. Charlie said, "Gee, thanks, mister, thanks." The kids were all happy with that, but I had my reasons. For starters, I loved seeing someone make a martini. Done correctly, it was a goddamn form of art. I understood that Charlie and his dipshit friends would have ordinarily ordered the drink shaken simply because that's how he had always seen them made. But the fact of the matter was, a stirred martini is just a bunch of horse shit. Then take it a step further. While it's true that a gin martini might be the proper way to go, one that made with good vodka simply tastes better. Before the barkeep started in on the martinis, he brought over the bottle top shelf and gave me a long pour, nearly filling the glass. I slid about $50 out and he took it. Hell, for that much booze, he deserved it. If not for the cost, then absolutely for a tip. If he got pouring like that, he would need a shitload of tips, because they would fire him in a heartbeat. Anyhow, he started making the drinks and had the glasses lined up in a row. In the mixer, the dude poured out a few shots of vodka and then the vermouth. Then he scooped up some ice and capped it quickly with another shaker, and then started something that I always thought looked like a dance. When they started making the drink, you'll see the bartender spin a little bit and vary from long shakes to short ones. It really is a beautiful thing to watch, but the real magic is what's happening inside the shaker. The chrome-looking thing is filled with ice. Yet, in the end, there will be no ice in the glass. During the shaking, the vodka and the vermouth are both mixed and chilled to near freezing. This ice cold is one reason why the gin works so well with the drink. By its nature, the gin is a bit spicy, and then you feel the cold, so it's nice. But I like vodka because it mixes better with everything else, and I also think it tastes better when it's cold. But that's just me. Anyway, each drink only took about 45 seconds to shake, and then one by one he strained the liquid into the cocktail glasses, garnished with a few olives each, and served them up. Charlie took one sip and then kind of nodded and toasted me. I nodded back and toasted him and that tasty little bitch of his. I leaned in the padded bar stool and thought that if I weren't so worn out from my walk, I would maybe get her drunk and take her home. That fucking cunt, that's what she deserved, to lose Charlie and go home with me. Yeah, that's what she needed. Lucky for her, I was tired. I finished my drink, got up, and walked past the group of them, nodding politely. I stepped out of the bar and headed back towards Market Street.